Great. Welcome, everybody. This is the Istio Community Meetup. My name is Maria Cruz. I'm a community, I'm a program manager in the Google Open Source Programs Office. And we are going to go ahead and get started with this meeting. If there are any updates for the community, now would be a time to share them. I have a short update. We are starting the Istio Community Meetup in China. The coordinator for those meetups is going to be Iris Ding, who is part of the Istio community and has also been a vital person in the organization of IstioCon, as she contributed to the development of the program in Chinese. So if you haven't attended IstioCon, you can still look at all the recordings from the sessions on the Istio YouTube channel as well. So I think, does anybody want to share any updates, maybe from working groups, or if you have any action items for people to contribute to any part of the project, now would be the time. All right, so I think if anything comes up, we can share it later. Since nothing is coming up right now, we're going to jump onto the demo presented by Lucas Ponce. Lucas is a principal software engineer at Red Hat. Lucas, you can start your presentation when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for the invitation, and thank you for the Istio community to give the opportunity. Let me to share my screen. Okay, 1 second. To resize. Okay, can you see my browser?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for confirming. So yeah, so thank you for this demo. What I would like to show you today is a short version, demo version in 30 minutes, 40 minutes maximum, just to how to use Istio in a visual manner through Kiali. So I guess that you know Kiali is a dashboard, service mesh dashboard focused on Istio. It's going to give you a lot of feature observability management. Recently, we published a tutorial when we want to showcase how to make Istio easy. Basically, that's our goal. So what all the steps that I want to present today are fully documented in kiali.io. Just clicking the tutorial, so you can reproduce all that they're going to show you with time, with all the resources. And this is what I would like to do today, right? So let me first to show you what I have for the demo. So I have a remote cluster. Let's see if I can connect. Today there are some internet problems. I know that this afternoon, my time, morning for you, the Istio.io was a little bit down. But yeah, this is what I have. I have a remote cluster, you know, in Google Cloud platforms. And I have a booking for deploy, and I have my Kiali deploy. So I'm not going to use Bookinfo. I'm going to use a different demo application, but I would like to show you how I configure my Kiali. Normally, when you follow the getting started steps, you run the istioctl dashboard command to open a local connection from your machine into into Kiali. In my case, what I did is to expose the add-ons, you know, through gateways. So in that way, I can show you how basically what I created is just a gateway for Kiali, a gateway for Grafana, and a gateway for Tracing. So I have available these gateways with this URL, right? So for the demo, what I want to do is I'm going to start installing this travels application that is in the tutorial. Okay, let me to describe you what application I'm installing. So the demo application that I'm going to use for this, it has it's an application to simulate travels, a travel shop for different countries. So I have different travel shops, right? In this case, for 3 countries, which each country is going to have its own particular characteristics in terms of the traffic that they generate. And all these travel shops that is going to simulate that there are UIs somewhere that receive requests from customers, and they are going to communicate with a travel service that is living in a different namespace, in a travel agency namespace. I'm going to have a travel service here, several other services in this namespace that are going to simulate, that are going to collect requests for flights, requests for hotels, requests for gas, insurance, or even discounts, right? Also, these travel shops are more or less simulators that are going to generate different type of traffics to prove or to demonstrate Istio features in a more complex way. And I'm going to have a UI for this demo app that is going to show me what all these these travel portal shops are doing, right? So I deploy that. So I expect that as soon as I'm talking. Okay, what is happening? I'm sorry. What is happening here? So I have some problems here. Okay, no, what is happening? Sorry, I tested this before. 1 second, please. I'm going to create the namespace. I'm going to deploy my applications. Okay. 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 Okay, now I see that the travel applications are working, right? So you can see here the 3 namespace, right? Let me to show you a scenario that you may happen when you start using Istio, right? So the first thing that I want to show you is that when I deploy my application, for example, the first thing that I want to check if something in the graph, right? And I don't see nothing. Why I don't see nothing? So if I click here, for example, Kiali can give me information that this workload has not yet they are not yet in the mess, so they don't have they injected the workload of that. So for that case, what the first thing that I'm going to do is that in this travel control, it is the UI, I'm going to enable the auto injection, right, from Kiali, and it's going to show me that now I have the Istio injection enabled, right? And in this case, I'm going to click into this workload. I'm going to say, okay, I want to enable auto injection for this workload. And then what I expect is going to happen that, okay, now the sidecar is deployed into this workload, and the next step that I want to do is I'm going to expose this service, which is the UI of my demo application, right? So what do you need to expose a service through the ingress? You need to generate a gateway, you need to create virtual services, and also a destination rule. So if I click into a service, right, into this control service, I can just to go to Kiali and create an action to request routing, and I can tell Kiali, I would like to generate a rule to route all the matching traffic to the control workload, right? And I will say, okay, all the requests from these services are going to be routed to the control workload. If I click in the show advanced options and I click into the gateway, I can also do this service to do, and with this configuration, I also want to generate a gateway for you. And this is the DNS that I'm going to use. For the DNS, I'm using a local DNS server in my machine, my demo machine, but this is something that you need to create in your DNS system. You need to talk with the network administration and to say, okay, I need a new DNS for the Ingress gateway, right? Typically is what we are going to use. I'm going to create that, right? And now that I have the service generated, I'm going to open. And this is the UI of this application, right? What this application is doing. So this UI is monitoring travel shops that I have here, and these travel shops are generating requests, right? Different type of requests. The interesting thing from this application, instead to book info, is that I can create a more rich scenario. Like I can create traffic with different ratio, that I can simulate that one shop is receiving traffic from customers from mobiles instead of the web. I can change the type of the user. One shops are requesting one type of user except others. And also I can see here a little bit of what the business is doing. So I have requests for new travels for this city, and I can see what is the proportion. Why I'm showing this? Because I'm going to simulate multiple scenarios that can involve that, okay, for one shop, if I have too much traffic, I will need to route to a different workload, etc. Right? Is to demonstrate better Istio use cases. Okay, so let's show this in Kiali, right? So one that I have this, I'm going to, for example, to go to the overview and see, okay, now I start seeing some traffic, right? So if I go to the travel control, I can see that, okay, I have some kind of traffic, but this is a common situation that if I want to also to extend this visualization to other namespace, I see, hey, I only see one namespace. What happened? This is also pretty common in especially for users that are starting user research. You can show that you have a mix or applications that are inside into the mesh and other applications that are not yet into the mesh. What means that they don't have a sidecar, so they are not part of the data plane, so they don't connect with the control plane. So I have visibility from Kiali that I have workloads, but this is something that I don't have missing sidecar. So it's also a way that I can use Kiali to troubleshoot why I don't see what I expect when I start using Istio or I'm debugging some Istio scenario, right? What is happening because in this namespace, I select to have the Istio injection enabled, but in the others, I didn't enable the Istio injection by default. One of my scripts failed and I need to reproduce that. So the next step that I'm going to do is, okay, just that I showcase how to see workloads with sidecar and how to see workloads without sidecar, right? I understand that. I'm going to, okay, I'm going to enable the sidecar, but this time I'm going to use the command line to simulate the typical scenario, right? I'm going to create the kubectl, because normally when you want to deploy an application in the Istio, you do this step previously, right? And I'm going to redeploy my okay. Now I will expect that what I'm doing now is Okay, so sorry, let me to put down. Okay, now I don't have the. I'm going to spec now that I see, how the applications are redeploying. And okay, now I see, that I don't have the flag, the message that the cycles are missing. So now all the workloads of Kiali are inside the mess, right? So what's next? So okay, so then let's repeat the same step that before. So now I'm going to the travel control, and I can see that now I have more traffic. Now I have the different, right? So now I have this application, which is this demo app that is talking with the shops, right? But also I can add multiple namespace into this view, and I can build a rich view of all my SQL services. In this case, this UI application that I expose via Ingress is talking with these shops, with travel shops. I have one shop for UK, I have another shop for France, another for Italy, and these shops are also talking with another service, the travels, and I can also to extend the namespace, and I might have okay, a wider view of all my three namespace. Okay, I think you can see that, right? Sorry, I'm having some problem with. Apologize, I have some problem with Zoom. I don't know. Can you still see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else.
Thank you, because okay, now, yeah, sorry. I wanted to do this, and I have some problem with my local. Okay, and now I get that you can see a larger image, right? Okay.
Yeah, you made it bigger.
Thank you, and I'm sorry. I have some technical problems, but okay. So yeah, now what I wanted to show you is okay, how to see three namespace and all the traffic flowing from this demo app, from this UI to these portal shops, and how these portal shops are sending requests to the travel agency, and how the traffic are moving, right? Okay, one of the display options to start with, very interesting, is to enable the traffic animation. The traffic animation is going to take the request rate of this take, and is going to show me that into Kiali, right? More thing that I would like to do or to show is, okay, this is good. Everything is more or less green, which means that all the pods of the controllers are up, and I don't detect any kind of network errors in the HTTP protocols, and that's fine. But Kiali can also give me more information about that. So, and this is what I wanted to see in this demo. For example, I can enable the request distribution. And one interesting thing is that, okay, tell me who is talking a lot. And in the filter, if you can see, right, I can highlight, I can query the graph, and I can tell me, okay, in this particular edge, I have 46% of all the traffic that the travel agency, right? One another interesting thing is that, imagine that now I want to click in this service, right? And when I click in this service, remember that all the sidecars of the data plane of Istio are collecting telemetry from the network, and also another signal that they collect are the traces of the application, right? So, and all these traces can be shown into Kiali as well. So then I have a suspicious in this demo that I have a high rate of ratio to this service. I can click there, and I can see now, I can see all the traces that are involved in this request, and I can see what it's doing. So I can select one of several traces, and that can give me information that what is happening in this particular microservice, right? So one traffic is generated from this portal shop, it's coming to the travels, and is okay communicating with several microservices in parallel, right? And this goes to this other service as well. So this is something that I can overlap and correlate the tracing information with the telemetry information in a graphical way, right? So let's continue investigating, right? What is happening? I can double click on the particular service and I can get more details about, okay, what is happening. So all the portals are communicating with this travel service, and this workload is just giving more traces or more traffic into the hotels than into the other services like the cars, insurance, flights, right? So let's go to the application details. Right? In the application details, I can group, for example, the workloads and services with a specific app label. This is important because Istio collects or groups telemetry also as well from workload and also from the same app. So if we click in the outbound metrics, I can see how, okay, this is the outbound metric that is flowing from the travels workload outside. And I can see that, okay, that I have the other microservices is low, the cars is low, the flights is low. And I can see that, okay, the hotels traffic is much higher than the others. Another feature that I can see, the same correlation between tracing and telemetry, I can enable on this chart. So if I click in the span duration, right, I can see, okay, I have some suspicions here that probably this is a trace that is pretty much slow. So let me investigate that. And I can click here and I will see that in the trace for this application, these are the trace for this interval, and I may have some suspicions. One question, what is good or what is not good for you in the context? This is what also Kiali tries to do. What we try to do for a specific trace is to give you, okay, I have this trace, it's not an error, it's a little bit higher than the other, the average, but how you determine if this is good or not is what we try to help you. How to do that? So we combine the tracing also with, with summaries of the telemetry. So what you see here is a heat map when you can compare and you can decide, okay, this trace compared with the other telemetry, it seems a little bit red, that probably could be slow than the other, right? And I can click on the trace and I can see these details. Okay, probably this span could be more slow. I can get into the span details and I have the same information. So I can determine what are the span of this trace. And I can say, okay, probably this is in green, probably this is okay, but this is red, probably is something is happening on this one. So I have the details. And I also can click into more details and say, okay, let me jump into the Jagger UI to continue my investigation and get deep and tell me, okay, what is going wrong with this trace? If this trace something, an error that I may have, or is some problem that I may have, this is one thing that we like to show you. Also, if I go back to the application, I can get into the, into the workload, and I can go deeper. For example, I can see this is the workload, this is the pods. Also, I have the information about the traffic that I have here. I can also click in the logs tabs. I'm going to collect the container logs, what the application is doing, but also with the sidecar logs. So I can combine and I can filter. For example, if I try to see, okay, hotels was the endpoint that is giving problems, I can see that, okay, probably this is doing too many requests, and I can determine that, okay, there are requests that have a city and other requests that are without city. So what is happening is that in this example, the shops, before that a user can start to request a specific travel, so there is an extra query to the hotel just to give me, okay, give me all the availability and offers from the hotel. This is one of the reasons that I have an hotel more overloaded than others. If I'm debugging and I want to go deep, I can also click in the workload, and one of the actions is also show me the envoy configuration, right? And I can see, okay, this is the row configuration, but also what are the clusters that are involved in Istio, right? For this specific workload, what are the listeners that are working, right? So this is information that I can show you how to do that. Right? Okay, so this is just a first step of the demo, just to show you how to go from the generic, I can combine several namespace in a graphical view and go into the details, right? So let's continue with that. So I have this service, and probably, but everything is green, right? I have this scenario, but let me to change that by the response time, right? I can also to show the response time. Let me to change the view, and everything is green, even if the hotels is overloaded. So one thing that Istio can help me is to test the resilience of my application. And one thing that we can do in this demo is, let's try to create some kind of foul injection scenario for these services. What happens is I start to introduce delays in these services. Is going to get down all the application, or my architecture is going to survive to this. So how to generate foul injection in Istio? So something that Kiali can help me is to create all the necessary Istio virtual services destination by you. So in the case of a foul injection scenario, I can just go here, and I'm going to create let's say a delay, a 5 seconds delay on all the requests that happens to this microservice, right? I will show this, and under this service, I can show you how this Kiali has generated the specific virtual service and destination resource configuration, right? So if I click in the Istio config, I will see that, okay, I generated the virtual service, the destination rule for the hotels. In the virtual services, when I define the fixed delay, the fall, right? And I can see how this configuration is linked also with the service, right? For easy navigate. If I click into the hotels, I can also see that, okay, that I have the raw YAML of the destination rule, but I also can show where this destination rule is linked. When I have some kind of validations, for example, the Kiali is going to tell me, hey, you have a problem here, so this destination rule is bad, right? You are missing some labels. Okay, and now, so I can see in the graph as well that the hotel services is highlighting where the virtual services you have is defined, right? So then, as soon as this delay is getting propagated into the other services, I'm going to start to see how the rest of the services are getting slower. So the response times are going to be deteriorated, and we are going to see how. So things that I can use is to check as well in the graph, okay, start to tell me, for example, in other view in my workloads, where the workload starts to get slow, right? And I will see how as soon as the telemetry is propagating, so these services are going to get slow. But it seems that these services is getting slow, but it's not crashing the system. The system is still healthy. I don't have errors. Okay, so I can see the impact as well if I click into the service. I can also see the, let me show the destination rules. Okay, if I go to the inbound metrics and I can go to the request duration, I can see that, okay, at the moment that I deploy the foul injection scenario, I see how the requests from the source are starting to, to get on average 5 seconds, so it's working with peaks of the tower, right? Okay, so let me to show another scenario that is the traffic system. Okay, so let me deploy more workloads for them. Okay, I'm going to deploy points. Okay, I deploy the travels 2 and the travels 3. I hope that I can see them in the soon into my application. I don't know why today is a little bit slow. Okay, now it's starting, it's refreshing. So okay, now I have the three workloads. So I'm going to add 2 more versions of the into the travel service to see if I can mitigate or I can help to mitigate the slow of my scenario. And another typical feature is that, okay, I would like to test if these 2 versions are going to improve the behavior, right? So another scenario that I can showcase is the traffic shifting, right? I have this this action under the travel service. I can, for example, to decide to send the 70% of the traffic to the travel version 1 and just to send 50% of all the rest of the traffic to version 2 and version 3. So I can create that, right? And Kiali, what it's going to do is to generate the configuration needed for that. It's going to show me this YAML, right? And with the visual representation of these routes, as well as the destination rules. The destination rules is going to show me if I have any error in the definition. And if I click into the graph, if I commute to the record distribution, okay, I zoom and I commute into the record distribution. So I'm going to see how, you know, the traffic I can choose to see in the travels that I have a virtual service, and I'm going to show how, you know, it's going to send most of the traffic to the version 1 to the others one. Okay, so another scenario that I would like to show is that how I can do the same with non-HTTP services. For example, on this demo, I have also a database, right? And imagine that some of our administrators detect that they want to check if the slow that we have detected in the hotels is due to the database. And we have the database administrator that is proposing, hey, I have a new indexes strategy, and I would like to create a couple of versions to test if the indexing strategy is going to improve the behavior that we are seeing, right? So this is something that we can demonstrate as well, how with Istio. So let me to show that into this case. Sorry, I missed my notes. Okay, I'm going to deploy okay, I'm going to deploy 2 more workloads for the database. Let me to filter it. Okay, so they are deployed. So I expect that they are going to receive traffic. Okay, pretty soon. Okay, I think that in this case I can go to the details. I see that I have 3 databases here as well. So I can also try to create a TCP traffic shifting, and I can say, okay, I'm going to send 50% of my traffic to the first workload, and I'm going to balance the 25% of the rest of the traffic to the other 2 workloads. Okay, now, so apologize because today my cluster is a little bit slow and I cannot demonstrate as I will like to show that, but okay. Okay, so now I go to the MySQL service, right? I would like to show the workloads. And for example, I can go to the invoice metrics, right? And
Lucas, you have 5 more minutes to,
Yeah.
so that we can allow some conversation at the end.
Yes, exactly. So this is what I wanted to show, that I can also to show this scenario with the swing. The last scenario that I wanted to show in 5 minutes is also how to deal with security, right? So imagine that now I want to create a security scenario, and I want to say, okay, for now, from all this traffic, right, I want that only the existing traffic is allowed to work. How I should do that in Istio? So it's something that I can just to create the traffic policies. Kiali, what is going to do is to create a first deny all authorization policy for this namespace. And for all the traffic that has been generated is going to allow, okay, you have existing traffic, so now I'm going to create a rule for you. So in that case, if I try to create a new, 1 second. A new workload that is not allowed to send traffic. Okay, so I created a new workload, and this new workload is a little bit slow, but when it's being deployed, so what it's going to show is that this workload is going to receive security errors that he's not allowed. It's stopped by the sidecars that he's not allowed to send traffic, right? Okay, that is. So you can see this. I see this workload. This workload has not an authorization traffic, right? And I can see here that if I go to the edge, so I have 400 errors there to show me that, okay, that if I group the errors by response code, okay, I have 400 errors, just confirming that, that this workload is not allowed to access and has not an authorization policy to do that, right? And yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Sorry about the technical problems, but just to mention that all of these use cases for observe, for connect, for security, using Kiali are fully documented in Kiali.io tutorial and are ready for you. And we are also in Istio Slack in Kiali rooms. So if you have any questions, comments about this short demo or tutorial, just let us know. Okay, thank you. So let me stop sharing. And Maria, if anyone has any questions or comment.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lucas, for presenting this demo. Anybody has questions or comments for Lucas about this demo? I also wanted to note that I launched a poll to get your feedback on this meetup. So if you can please take a minute or two to vote, that'll be great. We're gonna give it a few more minutes for questions or comments from people. this was one of the, if I remember correctly, this topic was one of the workshops that we had at IstioCon. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. And also in the IstioCon, there was a longer workshop, 2 hours. And I guess that the video is published in YouTube as well. So if you want also to see with more details all these steps, this is available for everyone.
Awesome.
Yes, this is Lisa.
So this is Uli Roman from Box. I have a question.
Yes.
And it may have been asked and answered in IstioCon, but unfortunately I wasn't able to attend the workshop. So this looks really great and it's a great product and I'm very interested, and now I'm actually working on hopefully bringing that in-house into Box so that if we can use it. But my specific question is, can this also help during the migration phase? So we're not yet on Istio, but we're moving on Istio, but we cannot do a big bang approach, obviously. So we're using our own customized proprietary service mesh that is based on Envoy, but it uses a proprietary control plane. And we need to move workloads step by step from our custom service mesh into the Istio control plane. And can Istio be used as part, at least to visualize as part of this process? In other words, can I see non-Istio workloads to some extent? I mean, you showed it here, but I'm not 100% sure to what extent that was happening.
Yeah, Lucas here. Yeah, exactly. So Kiali is a tool that is collecting signal or information from several sources, from the Kubernetes API. So what we try to do is collect all the deployments controller that you have defined, right, with all the pods. Also, we collect information from the telemetry that the sidecars are collecting. But also, we at the beginning of my demo, I wanted to show that the scenario that you may have a namespace that you migrated into the mesh, and other namespaces that are not yet migrated, are communicating, and you want to see what is happening, right? On some cases, it's a scenario that you want because you are in a migration phase. In other cases, you are migrated, you expect that you should receive telemetry, but you don't because there is some kind of misconfiguration or some kind of problem with the connectivity between the sidecar to the control plane, something like that. The idea is that this tool is going to help you also in that scenario. So it's not only for, one that you have all your workloads inside the mesh, the tool is going to be useful for you. The idea is that it also help you to move your workload from non-mesh into the mesh as well. That's the intention.
Okay, that was my impression, but I just wanted to confirm that because you didn't make it that explicitly as you just stated it yet. So thank you very much for confirming.
No, thank you to you for asking. And one thing that I would like also to present today to the community is that we are learning. This technology service mesh is quite new for all the users. So as soon as we learn and we receive feedback that some use case that we don't support yet, but it's interesting for you, please let us know in any of the channels that we have, because it's something that this project is quite active and we may work on that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Lucas?
Actually, I have a follow-up question. Sorry, it looks like I monopolized this here. So how would Kiali work in a situation of a multi-cluster or multi-mesh setup? To give you a little bit of background, we are deploying on GCP, but we're deploying a regional mesh, meaning we have a regional GKE control plane cluster that just hosts the control plane. And then we have application clusters that are zonal that are joining the mesh. And I suspect that is kind of transparent. You can use Kiali and deploy it into the control plane cluster, and then you get visibility and metrics, everything across the entire. But now we also want to extend to a second region and a third region and whatnot, right? So is there a way to actually set up a super Kiali that kind of gives you visibility in all the all the regions and all the submeshes, or is this still kind of, you don't have a single pane of glass?
Yeah, thank you for the question, because it's one of the areas that we are pretty active right now. So you know that the multi-cluster deployments is a big topic and quite active topic for Istio as well from the community. So Kiali has also added recently support for multi-cluster deployments. So the first scenario that is covered is that when we have a Kiali per control plane. So if you have multi-cluster, typically we support today a scenario where you have a Kiali in the cluster A and another Kiali in cluster B. And we are working to show how the communication is flowing between the two. So you will see, okay, this cluster is communicating with the other cluster, and we want to show you that. So this topic is quite active, because the deployment model is something that there are several options. Also, we are working on federation models, which is different. So probably the control plane I may have multiple control planes within the single cluster, and I want to federate to communicate with egress traffic one to another. Yeah, we are working on give support. The single plane, sorry, to have one single Kiali to give on the same time multiple clusters, multiple control planes. At the moment, it's on the table for discussion, right? But it's more in the drafting, the whiteboard area. So at the moment, the supported that we have is but right now, because I tell you, it's something that we are working on that, and thank you for bringing, because it gives feedback, but it's to have a Kiali per control plane at the moment, right? But we are working on that. So all the feedback.
At least if you have visibility from a Kiali where say, well, this cluster talks to this cluster, at least you have some visibility into that. That's a good starting point and helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I invite you to join into the Istio Slack as well, Kiali room. Feel free to contact with any of the team to comment, because I tell you, so a lot of things are on the whiteboard in the designing phase. So all the feedback can help us to put priorities and what should be the direction. This is what we like for the community.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm sharing a link to the Kiali channel on the Istio space on Slack. If you want to join that. Any other questions or comments for Lucas? And one more reminder to please take the poll that is active right now on Zoom to let us know what you thought of this meetup. And thank you. I think with that, I think we're coming to a close. So thank you everybody for participating of this meetup. This recording is going to be available on the Istio YouTube channel later on, so you can find it there. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.